Hey everybody, Shane here, daily-astrocat.com. Today is Wednesday, and it is the 6th of May. Astrology time, right? So let's talk about this. The moon's in Capricorn all day long. Did you take advantage of some of that yesterday? Now, Pluto is retrograde today. I told you about that yesterday, right? Oh, horrors, right? No, not really. This isn't a BFD, right? Big fucking deal. It's not. And you should know exactly what that means. The outer planets are actually retrograde for almost close to half a year. In Pluto's case, it's going to be 5 months, right? It's actually 5 months and a couple of weeks. So who's parsing, whatever. So about a half a year, right? And this is because the Earth orbits faster than those planets. So as the Earth laps them, that's when they seem to be going retrograde. Planets actually don't go backwards. What they do is that it's an optical illusion. It's where we're at relative to the planets. It's a motion thing, right? And from our vantage point. Now, think about it. When planets go retrograde, it's when they're closest to Earth, right? So, say for example, the Jupiter retrograde, well, that's right when Jupiter's closest to Earth. It gets bright and brilliant, right? Now, Pluto, you can just about reach out and touch it now, right? Because it's went retrograde. Yeah, right. That's if your arms were like astronomical units in length. You can't. However, let's see where we're at as far as society is concerned, number one, because we have Pluto in Aquarius. Now, Pluto... Why is Pluto powerful? Why is Pluto doing the things that it does? Well, you have to break it down. As the co-ruler of Scorpio, Pluto has, quite a bit of things that are associated with it, right? Underground wealth, right? Hidden wealth. That's that eighth house characteristic that it shares. It shares with Mars, though. So think about it. Mars is... That's Mars' feminine expression. Before Pluto existed, Scorpio was ruled by Mars. Where do you think the term passive-aggressive comes from? Scorpio, right? that's the activity, that action of Aries, that quick, all that stuff, right? That temper, the fiery temper, and the initiative and everything turned inward, right? So now that's where you and made a slightly passive, but in a passive-aggressive way. Pluto, as we've been tracking through the years here on daily-astrocat.com, is one of those planets that's it's signals certain things, right? Like right back in right at the end of 2020, before the pandemic, Pluto, in his whatever you want to call it, diminished capacity as a dwarf planet, was trying to change a bunch of things, right? Because think about it. When Pluto was in Capricorn, that's when all of this stuff started to turn kind of, weird politically, because that gave a rise to authoritarianism, right? So we saw these rulers that were changing the rules so that they could stay in office longer. Talking about China, talking about Russia, talking about these things, right? Because it happened. This isn't political. This isn't saying, oh, it's bad. But we've heard rumblings about that in the United States, too. That's a holdover from that Pluto in Capricorn, right? Now we have Pluto in Aquarius, where we want to see, where Pluto wants to change this stuff, right? Wants to break it all down and then rebuild it on a societal level, because that's what Aquarius tends to do. Now, when planets go retrograde, it's a chance to review what's been going on, right? So we can take a look at the last, 6.5 months of Pluto being direct, see what's happened so far, and then we can go back and then try to piece together what it is that, what worked, what didn't work, and what angles are going to work next time. This is for people who have that ambition to change those things. We've seen some of that happening, right? Elections in Hungary, for example, turning away from that authoritarian strong person and getting back to the people, getting back to power to the people. That is something that's a very important theme about this Pluto in Aquarius sojourn. So if you want to call it that, it's a long period, right? If we're talking almost 20 years. So anyway, so let's just keep on going now, because I really want to. I wanted to say what that was, right? Now, I saw something very interesting today. Saw people talking about where Pluto is at in your what house it's in, being a manifestation of who you are and stuff like that, which is really weird. But it was kind of curious to see in the comments, because everybody that shared my placement of Pluto being in your first house had very similar experiences, and it was kind of like, wow, that's really odd, and it's odd because I never really considered from that angle. But by looking at the comments and stuff like that, I could see everybody starting to reverberate with this whole thing of, what it meant to have Pluto in the first house and how other people reacted to you. And you, in turn, would just be mystified by it, because it was just, why do I draw this kind of attention to myself? So, speaking of drawing attention to ourselves, look, the oligarchs are trying to keep politics that they don't like off of social media, right? And guess what? It's not working. You know why? Pluto's retrograde. Today, I'm going to keep on speaking my mind. This episode's going to get restricted just for saying that, right? And I don't care. It's my job to speak up, just as it may be your job to do so too. So let's check out how we're doing with regards to this Pluto retrograde. Pluto's about sudden change and transformation. That's one aspect of it as well as that power thing and that projection and everything like that. So the last aspect we had was Mercury square Pluto yesterday. Now let's just say that communication will be affected by this Pluto retrograde. Let's just use that as a little marker, okay? Certain legal actions are already making this a very easy call. Just look around. You can see this. We're going to take a look at that and see where it affects us. Now, look, our other ideas should be working just fine. Pluto retrograde, all the outer planets go retrograde for a long period of time. So it doesn't have that much of an effect on what it is that we do. It's not like a Mercury retrograde or a Venus retrograde or a Mars retrograde. Those are personal planets. These are transpersonal planets, so they're affecting things that are around us, that are outside of us, that, and it can also cause how we tend to look at those things, right? So, check in on, okay, so are there ideas? Make sure you check in on them, okay? Don't get lost. And today's keyword is censorship. Our color is the parchment of the Constitution of the United States of America. It's what it's written on, right? That parchment. The assault on civil rights appears to be escalating. Oh, yes, of course. The sun in Taurus, slow to anger, but soon we'll be seeing red. Citizen representation, that's a thing of the past, right? Getting elected to Congress is a ticket to an exclusive club of grift and self-enrichment. They made themselves a new class, right? It's tiresome, but true. I can't get myself to care enough about who's in Congress because that's just all hyperbole, right? They talk to listen to themselves talk. Nothing gets done, and nobody's being held accountable. So there's nothing more. What are high crimes? There's no such thing anymore, right? There's just an enormous carpet where everything is swept under. A big pile, a lump in a rug. Temperatures will surely slowly begin to rise. Pluto retrograde is going to expose this and more. Now, here's a good point of a good piece of advice. Look for opportunities to increase what you do. All right? Look at the jobs that are being quietly replaced by AI. By dumping money into this, they no longer have to keep as many people on the payroll. This means higher executive bonuses and more money for shareholders. Essentially, a large number of corporate shares go to the executives as part of their compensation package. Capricorn loves information such as this, right? Yeah. So, Capricorn's also good at figuring out ways to keep what is ours. Key phrase right there, right? Start thinking about how you can expand in areas that possibly may be outside of your day job. We need to look at these things. The moon is in a place devoid of empathy and passion. This is a big challenge to overcome. How can we, as a collective, begin to correct and shake off this ugly pallor that has descended upon us? All right? Here's where I'm going to get weird, right? It's like living in Mordor and being told that the black pallor that hangs in the air is the blessing of the Aner. Right? Yeah. How can we ever return to the luster that once was the bright beacon of the world? Can we? Or are those fires cold and dead and incapable of being rekindled? It's going to take time and cosmic intervention. So start manifesting now, please. All right, so a lot of stuff in there, right? In 1957, let's talk about this. The Pulitzer Prize was awarded to John F. Kennedy for his book, Profiles in Courage. You believe that? Yeah, okay. So, and our birth is in 1960. It's another John Flansburgh. He's an American alt-rock singer-songwriter. Part of They Might Be Giants, right? Istanbul, not Constantinople, Birdhouse in Your Soul. Yeah, all that stuff. He's born, it says in Lincoln, Massachusetts. He grew up in Lincoln, but, they met at Lincoln Sudbury High School, where my grandson is going to attend school one day. And that is all I have for you. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for coming by. You got any more questions about this Pluto retrograde or anything silly like that, or, as significant as that or whatever? Put them in the comments. I will answer them as best I can, and we will keep on moving forward because that's what we do. So let's sum it up, shall we? Today's keyword is censorship. Yeah, we'll see how many views this one gets. And our color is the parchment. Parchment. Yeah, just parchment. You know that color. Anyway, take paper, soak it in some tea. You get that parchment color. That's all we have. Today is a 5. Happy astrocatting.